Go. This is the cauldron today, the Colosseum, where some of the greatest that we have seen in this game will descend, the superstars in the biggest rivalry of them all. Part 2, of course, in the Asia Cup. India take on Pakistan again. We did not get a full game the first time around. This time we have prayed, to the weather gods to say, let the sun shine down on what should be an epic, emotional, historic rivalry among some of the best in the business. And that's why we have the best in the business alongside us, Sanjay Manjrekar, Waka Nuris, Dominic Cork. Once again, it's round 2, gentlemen. Slowly you can see the trickle of the flags as we've come in, the blue and green army of fans making their way through into traditionally what is a rivalry where heroes are born. This becomes part of your legacy, and Sanjay Manjrekar, in his time playing so many Asia Cups, has known what it takes to take on Pakistan.
Absolutely, and there's always that little...
And Wakar, you've seen Pakistan in situations where they played more completed games. They're looking like a complete unit. You've been bowling out your oppositions. Do you feel, because we asked that in our fan pulse to our fans and viewers out there as well, who holds the edge in this contest, in this rivalry today? Remember, scan the QR code and you can join in. Who do you feel, Wakar, has had that entering round 2?
You put me on the spot,
But I have to, don't I? This is you've been on the spot before. This is nothing compared to what you've done to batters in your past.
Look, I mean, this should be a good game. I feel that both teams are very balanced. They both have...
We're hoping for diplomatic, neutral answers from Dominic Cork. Are we going to get one?
No, well, let's do one thing, Corky, before you begin. I think you should just get everybody to put their hands up and say, I swear to say the truth. Nothing but the truth.
Sanjay, you have to start doing that in the first place.
Yeah.
I will say the truth and nothing but the truth. You want to know who I think will win the game today? I think Pakistan have got the slight edge.
Okay.
There you go. The truth is now coming out.
It's the slightest of edges. Everything has to go right because they're up against one of the best.
Love you, man. Love you.
And I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'm just saying it's a slight edge.
Sanjay, it's okay. We'll keep each other company. It's fine.
The commentary box that we have is very small, and we were looking at a couple of people to get out, out of the box. I know who's going to be one of the two.
Look, I've never sat on the fence ever, and I never will sit on the fence ever.
We'd rather you sit on the fence than calling Pakistan favourites to win.
Slight. I said slight favourites.
Sanjay, the players are supposed to be feeling the heat, not Dominic.
That's fine. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not going to be here and just say, well, I just think this, because I'm going to say the truth, and it's slight.
We aren't going anywhere because this rivalry right here has erupted and could just possibly be magnified on the field today. It's those key battles, it's those moments of heroism that turn your legacy into something different, turn your legacy into folklore. In the build-up to India versus Pakistan, what have been the top stories?
200 wickets in this format.
Milestones galore, but it's not just about personal achievements. It's about doing it for your team to get those points on the board. We've changed things up. We'll make sure that Dominic Cork gets the first answer, so he doesn't feel the heat. Who's going to be our X factor today, Corky?
That's a difficult one. I'm going to go...
If you thought this was going to be easy, this won't be easy.
I'm going to go Jasprit Bumrah for India, because I just think he can actually produce some... Or they're looking to defend. If he has a good day, then I think he will be the X factor player.
Wakar, Sanjay?
Look, I have not seen Pakistan bat against India. Previous game was...
So 2 bowlers are dominating so far in this matchup. Sanjay, for you?
We tend to focus on the batters, and rightly so, because they get more time. A lot of respect for that guy.
Oh, it's going to be fun if the bowlers dominate today. That's exactly what you want to see. But speaking of bowlers, yes, Jasprit Bumrah is back in the Indian camp. KL Rahul is also back as well. We kept a very keen eye on proceedings in the net session to try and figure out, to try and decipher in a sense who today's 11 could be. Let's show you now what we figured out as we follow the Blues. Great to see one of the insights, and keenly observed were we when it came to Ishan Kishan and KL Rahul batting in the nets alongside each other. What do you viewers have to say? Fan pulse, who makes it to the 11 today? Most of you are going with Ishan Kishan, who has 4 back-to-back half-centuries in this format when he's played. KL Rahul, mind you, hasn't played a one-dayer since March, but averages at number 5, over 50 in this format. Who gets your go, Sanjay, and why?
Ishan Kishan. And on current reality, and this is not a reflection on KL Rahul's past performances at that position. The current reality is KL Rahul has been out of the game for a long time.
So KL has gone through a long session, right? We all know that the NCA work tirelessly, has had simulation games. You bring him all the way over here and you still don't play him? I mean, are you going on the batting? Are you going on the left, on the right? Waqar, who's a better wicket keeper? I mean, in your assessment?
Look, I'm going to go with Sanjay because you go with the player who's in form. Right. I know KL Rahul has been out.
Challenge for someone coming back from injury for almost 11 months out of competitive cricket was Jasprit Bumrah. And now you're going to face high quality opposition. Just talk to me about his mindset. He looked very geared up the other day.
And he will be, because obviously he's gone through rigorous, rehab in Bangladesh. Then you may think, OK, let's look ahead, future World Cup. Let's get him into a bit of cricket now against Bangladesh or against Sri Lanka and rest Ishan Kishan and then get him ready if India get to the final, Kishan plays in the final.
All these conversations are because of that performance against Pakistan. That shows you the value of India, Pakistan and performances against your arch rival, what it brings out, sustaining that pressure. All right, they can do it. They're professionals on these 22 yards. But us, as fans, the nerves, the adrenaline is pumping all over the globe as India gets set to take on Pakistan in this cauldron of dreams. The love is so tangible, you can feel it across the screens, you can feel it when you walk into these stadiums as well. I mean, India-Pakistan is huge. We've seen a lot of blue and green shirts out there. Sanjay, which set of fans would be the loudest or the most passionate today? It's hard to pick, right?
Yes, because both teams' fans are passionate, both understand their cricket a lot. And in both nations, cricket is the #1 sport by far.
Okay, so who's Sri Lankan fans supporting today? Let's have fun with that.
Sri Lanka, I think, will be supporting India. But if you ask Dominic Cock, he'll say Pakistan.
Let's ask Dominic Cock.
No, I agree. I think Sri Lankan fans will support India today. I do. I generally think that. But let's see. All I want to see is an atmosphere. I want to see two teams going head to head. And they'll be slightly rooting for India.
Well, we've also asked our experts to pick their X factors. Waqar is going with Shaheen Shah Afridi, and no doubt in that he was spitting fire. You could see the swing. It was almost inconceivable to get past him. How did this 23-year-old work his way up now to get set to take over the world? Just the other day on our network, you heard Shoaib Akhtar saying that this pace trio from Pakistan remind him of the good old days. This year alone, they've collected 67 victims together. But Shaheen Shah Afridi at the top, we know in the first, can be absolutely relentless, penetrative towards the end. He's just collecting toes. I mean, he is absolutely relentless, a spearhead, and takes to being a leader in the attack. But Waqar, I'd love to understand the mindset of how you really coach a bowler like that, or motivate a bowler like that.
It's not that difficult, because if the bowler is hard with good pace, can't ask for more.
Relentless, that set up to Rohit Sharma in the previous encounter. Now that's something that Rohit Sharma would have, I guess, tried to work on, because everyone is aware of his numbers against left-arm seams. So how does he navigate that? What is the work that goes on behind the scenes to get you game ready for this situation?
Yeah, when you look at the way he got out, Rohit Sharma.
And Shubman Gill worked a lot on his movement, moving down the crease. You were saying,
and I'm saying it from a right-arm swing bowler. I never had the pace of Shaheen Shah Afridi, but when if a left-hander was facing me and he opened up, I thought that was brilliant, because what I'm thinking is if I get it outside off stump, he's got to come all the way across. And you watch most Indian right-handers now, they open up. It's not this ball that probably will do them now. It's the one that just comes from outside and back in. And hence why he was just a little bit tentative. But comes from outside off stump, bank in, because you've got to go across. So I've got two chances, LBW and bowled.
Look, I asked him this question, and I said that, what about that delivery and the two deliveries before that? Because what happened in that over, those two deliveries actually got him that wicket, because, that ball seemed to wait.
And accounted for the two pillars of Indian batting, one on the verge of 10,000 runs, one on the verge of 13,000 runs. Similarly for Virat Kohli, if they do get him in the power.
The top order batter, because why was he stuck on the crease? It was the Afridi factor that just got him worried about, what he could do with the ball coming back in to happen today.
And you heard the Indian top order, Shubman Gill, very honest about the assessment, saying that I personally have not faced this quality before. So he worked extremely hard in the nets, as you saw on Following the Blues, to just counter that swing or to be able to step up to it. But once again, Virat Kohli, as always, 46 international centuries, is always on the verge of milestones when he steps onto the field. And you know it, on our network, 6:30, it's prime time with Virat Kohli. Every day on our network, you get insight with King Kohli. Sanjay Banga joins us now, who can give us pretty insight with Virat Kohli as well, because you spent so much time with him as India's batting coach. Virat would walk onto this ground knowing that across 8 matches, he averages over 100 here, but particularly against a team like Pakistan, it just draws out the best of him. We saw the dismissal from the first game. We're discussing it, dissecting it, but you have done that on so many occasions with Virat Kohli. Before a game against Pakistan, amongst this pace trio, what would the preparations have been like?
Well, the last match dismissal can happen.
Players, Hardik Pandya, who did well in the previous game, also absorbs pressure in those crunch situations, as do all these gentlemen who have joined us here. The build-up has only just begun. We'll take a breather, back with so much more as we look set to write another chapter in this epic rivalry.
Lifting and all of that, and MS was one who never used to train quite that much, but he tried he gave it an attempt, and in that process he saw themselves. A lot of them take solace in music. A lot of them want to calm their nerves prior to the game by going out for meals, for dinners, but unfortunately in this particular game you can't move out, so they sort of get into a group together and spend a quiet corner at the hotel itself. So those are the things which come to my mind, wherein the player is trying to gear himself.
Beautiful story that you shared of Mahi. I mean, it tells you the determination, the honor of wanting to play in this clash. It means so much. India versus Pakistan. Over the years, as fans, we've grown up relishing this rivalry. It's defined our childhoods. It takes us from children to adults, and we have certainly grown up along with these cricketers. Zainab is outside with Waqar Yunus. Zainab, you're just outside the Pakistan dressing room. We're talking about mindsets. We're talking about preparations. I mean, I know I've got the nerves. What about you?
We've all got the nerves, Mayanti. It's India versus Pakistan and Pakistan contest. It's going to be an exciting one, Mayanti. It's back to you now.
Oh, exciting. That's an understatement, but I agree with you, Zainab. I mean, we're running out of adjectives to describe how we are feeling ahead of this summit clash. But speaking of the rivalry that has translated through the ages, that has embroiled within us as fans, it gives us passion about this great contest. Dominic Cook, the so-called neutral party who's picked Pakistan for today's clash. But, I mean, going back in those moments of intensity, of passion over the years, has there been a particular standout moment for you?
It would probably be Venki up against Amir Sahel, I just think, as a form of...
That's a great question, actually, Sanjay. Who's picking an argument with who in that 22 yards today, if you had to fire yourself up today? Because Ravi, I think, said, Virat Kohli, go pick an argument with someone and bring that beast mode out in you.
Well, now the players are very, very smart. And the thing is that being monitored so closely by mastering the break, and it was that point wherein Saeed Anwar had to intervene, had to mediate and cool the flames down at that point in time.
He's not going to name the players.
No, and I just want to say, when I'm talking about picking an argument, you don't always win that argument, by the way. And you look at certain individuals, Tendulkar, Srinath didn't say a lot. It's just what works for you, and if it works and helps you as an individual, then that's fine. But he's right about match referees. You have
also do is take it in the metaphorical sense, because you look to pick an argument sometimes even with yourself in that moment, in the battle, the attrition, and that's what brings out greatness. And speaking of greatness, two modern masters yet again grace us in the cauldron of dreams in the biggest rivalry of them all. Gautam Gambhir and Sanjay Banga with us here as we build up to one of the most epic rivalries we've seen. Both these gentlemen have taken their part, written their own chapters in these great rivals who step onto the field with all of these memories. But also, Gautam, you get a chance to see two really, really accomplished players who are at their peak. And you get to see that today with Babar Azam and Virat Kohli. It's not just about the numbers, but the aura that they bring onto the ground today. What are you hoping to see from both batters?
try and score runs which can help your team win. As simple as it.
Scoring big runs. I mean, that was a daddy 100, fastest to 19. One away from equaling Saeed Anwar, who would be the most prolific centurion for Pakistan. Virat hasn't had really a chance to go yet because he didn't get a bat against Nepal either. So mindset-wise, how did these two approach this game?
Well, both are very critical to their individual teams because both play in a particularly similar fashion because...
Just as we were talking to you, K. Rahul just did his warm-up right behind that, knowing that all eyes on him. It has definitely been one of the most debatable topics, and we'll get more into that, whether it's K. Rahul or Ishan Kishan as well. How have Team India prepared for this summit clash where they know the world has stopped spinning on their axis to watch them? Let's find out.
Challenge.
This could be the definitive battle. This is what might just back the stadium. That's what we want to see. Along with someone who's terrorized Indian batters in the past, Wasim Akram joining us along with Zainab. Now, so much, Zainab, of India's preparation has been against the Pace trio. They've taken 67 wickets together just this year. How fired up is the Pace trio now?
Well, you heard from Mayanti talking about the Pace trio as who better team
Yeah,
blue.
he's got the best arm.
Call me super sub, but
He's got a very good arm.
Super sub, right?
Impact sub today.
Well,
It's one of the contests that we just relish. Can I just say, Wasim, we're just losing people. Like, kya ho raha hai?
I was thinking the same thing. Where is
But to
everyone
be
gone?
fair, Ravi and Virat are having a conversation right now. Irfan is there. Okay, this is very crucial. Ravi and Virat Kohli having a conversation right now. He knows that we are talking about him also.
I did ask him this question just a little while ago when I was passing him. As Virat, you come into my dreams now. He said, why, Wasim bhai? I said, because they show you so much on television. I just can't get out of out of my mind. It's just Virat.
But you said a beautiful word. Speaking of dreams, so there you go. Team India batting first, put into bat, and a very, very interesting team combination unforced, as Rohit Sharma said, which we can discuss with Gautam Gambhir and Sanjay Manjrekar. So now, what Irfan had just told us, because Irfan, I said Ishan Kishan are going to play because Shreyas Iyer's got a slight suspicion. Now, what this happens just ahead of a World Cup? Tell me.
I'm just intrigued.
So it's often when you speak about Team India that take on Pakistan, the left hasn't been right. This is completely left field for all of us in the conditions that are on display today. Let's get you a live pitch report, and essentially, I mean, from that perspective. So asking Ravi from that perspective, you add on another 20 with now a different looking middle order for Team India. What do you make of it? And essentially, I mean, what does that mean for how you pace out that innings now that you're batting first?
Look, I agree with Sanjay. Iffy.
Wasim, that has to be the mindset, and electing to put your opposition into bat first, especially targeting India's top three. You've gone in with that all-pace attack, which have been very, very impressive.
Yeah, I think they got the combination right and even bowling second.
And add the 20 runs that Ravi Shastri wants in an India-Pakistan clash. Well, that's what he said.
From where?
He said he has to come from somewhere. India-Pakistan, add on 20 more runs to that target. Why not? That's the contest that you essentially want to see. Virat Kohli has walked out, had a long chat with Ravi Shastri as well. Knows in this ground in the past 8 innings or so, he's averaged over 100 against his favourite opposition. Let's find out how he gears up for matches like this. You can understand that you all need to have people close. I love the history behind nicknames. It always fascinates me. Sanjay, what was yours? Growing up, what did it become when you were a cricketer? I'm sure you had one.
Different means very stiff, so I was very...
You still are?
Yeah, still stiff. Yeah, I'm not sort of loose. My personality is not loose.
Okay.
And then people like Sachin and all these guys who were close used to call me Manji.
That's a nice one. Wasim, yours? What was your favourite nickname?
I think since I came into Pakistan team, before that, school, it was just...
Even a stadium as well. These gentlemen had the privilege of playing these games. We've had the privilege of watching them become heroes, and you certainly have India walking out there to bat first against this Pakistan pace attack. So we just went into what Virat Kohli essentially had done in terms of what he, his mindset, a little bit about him. But for Virat Kohli, as we've spoken about quite a few times, that there is the threat. If you look at his numbers when he comes into the power play this year, the average is quite low. It takes him a little time to kick into gear, because once he builds the innings, it's difficult to stop him. What does he need to do if by chance he is coming in early today?
See, my observation of...
As an opening batter, the challenge that these different pacers possess, you've got speed, you've got swing, you've got a little bit of skid. How do you make those adjustments?
And these three guys are different bowlers as well. Shaheen is left armour, Naseem can swing the ball at that pace and point. If you're 9, 10 and 11 can contribute, it's got to be a game changer. Going into those big tournaments like the World Cup, you don't want to have a long tail, and I'm sure Pakistan doesn't have that long.
The nets work very, very consciously against left-arm throwdowns as well, working on the movements, coming down the track, making sure that the head doesn't fall over when it's swinging to him a little bit. So his application now, because he's faced Pakistan once already, that pressure is off. What's the pressure today?
Of all the top order batters, the one who has to really
winning this contest today, what do you seem to think the fans have come in? I'm not going to ask our analyst who's winning this contest. I will ask Gautam Gambhir to leave us with a parting shot of giving us the score prediction for the first 10 overs. Come on,
I wish I was an astrologer. I can't.
first 10
Try it. First 10. Come on, Gautam. You can
Give it a go.